Good afternoon, everyone. So here we are, and what a time it is. What a time it is. And I really wanted to share this fantastic technique, especially to those who might not have seen it before, experienced it before, and to those who have, then it's a great reminder that you've got that tool. It's so easy and very simple to learn. So I'm not going to go into the details too much in this way. Over Facebook Live is what I mean, because I think if we can just use the time for tapping, and with this particular energy tapping technique, it really is all about just tap, keep tapping. I was brought up with the original EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, training courses about 20 years ago now, and they were a little more complicated than they are nowadays, as of course the more people that use it and have found the results to be fantastic, the systems get more simplified, which I think is a little bit like what's happening at the moment. There's this big shake-up going on around us, around the whole world, and we're seeing lots of systems being shaken, and some interesting apples falling out of those trees. So, but on a serious note, it can be quite scary. And I really get that, really appreciate that. So to have these type of tools which can help to calm us down and soothe our anxieties and our worries are really priceless. They're very precious to be able to do for yourself. And especially when we're physically distancing ourselves from one another, then these type of techniques become all the more important and powerful. When I say powerful, we are empowering ourselves with something that does make a difference on ourselves, and very quickly as well. So I shall just probably each Thursday when I come on and do this, give a little more information around it. And if there's something specific that you want to know, then either direct message me or put it into the comments. Let's talk about it. So the tapping technique is just using the little padded areas of our fingertips, okay, and the thumb. So this is the area that we use for actually tapping on the skin. And by the way, in view of the extra hygiene precautions that we need to observe and be aware of, it's really helpful, and some may say essential, depending on who you are, if you're a key worker or if you are in life exposed to potential contact with things which could end up being contagious for you, then, God, that was a long-winded way of saying to you, go and wash your hands before we start tapping at all. And especially because one of the main areas that we tap on is the face. So we have naturally been guided to do less touching of our faces. It's such a natural habit, isn't it? We push our hair aside, we maybe, clear something from our eyes, we just wipe our nose, in the ears, whatever. But these things we do without thinking. So it's a really good practice anyway to be aware of, be cognizant of where you may have been placing your hands, and then unwittingly touching around your eyes, your nose, your mouth, which of course are the orifices which give quick, easy access to things that maybe we don't want. Anyway, so that's the sensible part. So please, before tapping on your face, is to ensure that you have recently washed your hands, 20 seconds at least. Okay, and so I'm going to show you go through that routine and also a more discreet method of tapping. So there are different ways of doing it depending on where you are and who you're with. So that too can also be helpful to know that you can still use the tapping to help soothe even when there's other people around and you don't want them to know what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to start tapping, and it doesn't matter what it is, where you are, in terms of what you're thinking about. Those who know a bit about emotional freedom technique know that you would be generally focused on something specific, but we can just tap anyway. If you have any anxieties or any concerns, then you know that this is going to really help. We want to be moving that energy so that it doesn't get stuck. So let's go for it. Let's do it. So once again, tapping here and starting on the tops of our heads. So right on the top of the head, like so, just nice gentle tapping. We don't have to pound. And you can stay there. If it feels nice, then you can stay there. And if you want to move on, we're going now to the beginning of the eyebrows. So here we go, tapping. And I like to do either side at the same time. I just feel that is more balanced. It has a nice feeling to it just by. But if you'd rather tap one side and go through the whole process, just one side and then the other side, it's entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, okay? So this is like anything new. You find yourself focused on where you're going firstly. So here now I'm going to the corner of the eye. So it's not by the eye, it's on the bone. So you're always on this ridge around the eyes. Okay? So we're tapping here. Okay? So nice and gentle, especially around the eyes, because the skin tissue is a lot more fragile, thinner in this area. Okay. Oh, and already I can feel the energies moving, you know, that involuntary breath that I took just then. And you might find that you might have the same response. So it can be deep breaths, it can be yawns, it can be burps, it can be all sorts of things. Your tummy might start gurgling. So from here we now go under the nose, in the fulcrum, you know, in that little area there. So just keep tapping. Okay. And it's therapeutic because as you're doing this, you can just feel things slowing down. I mean, the fact that you've stopped to just take this time out to do this in itself is such a lovely gift. You know, being still. There we go again. There's something else shifting, because this is what we aim to do when we're tapping. So we're tapping directly onto energy points, acupressure points, So they are the beginning and the ends of energy channels running all the way through this fantastic network within your physical body. So what it does is it sends a fabulous vibration, and this is what is directly linked to the nervous system, and it activates a message of calm and soothing. So it triggers the happy hormones and reduces cortisol. You've probably heard of adrenaline and cortisol. There are stress hormones. If they're continually flooding our systems, that's what can make us feel even more anxious and jittery. So where I'm tapping now is, can you see the collarbone there? It's just below, just literally, there's like a little nook, indentation there. So just tapping there. This is a key point in a number of modalities, but so from here I'm actually going to add a thymus point as well, because at the moment this in particular is a good place to give a good thump. Really helps to stimulate and boost your immune system specifically. So that is what we really need to be ensuring we're keeping topped up, and with our food, with our thoughts. So have an awareness of what you're thinking about. Cool, that's good. So from here now, going under the arm. Okay, so for you ladies, it's on the bra line, directly underneath the armpit. For the gentleman, it's in line with the nipple. And you can do both at the same time. So you're giving yourself a nice hug. Feel good? And then we can come back to the top of the head and take a nice deep conscious breath in. I like to do a little stretch there as well. So you can keep doing that, keep going round, doing that sequence for as long as you like. And actually, certainly studies, data proves that the longer you do it, the more effect it has. And, I would say just go ahead, try it out. So now I'm going to show you the more discreet way of doing the tapping. So we're going to actually tap on our fingers. So if you can imagine now, holding your hand so that the palm is facing your body, and you're going to tap using two fingers. So I'm using my index finger and the middle finger. On the side, look, on the side of my thumb. So it's on the nail side and the thumb pad. So just tapping there. And then from here, we work through each finger. So onto the forefinger. And the middle finger. And the ring finger. And the little finger. So nice and easy to remember, isn't it, this way? And then we go to the side of the hand, also known as the karate chop. So I'm pretty much using all my fingers here. And then we come to what we refer to as the miracle point, or the gamut. So finishing off here before we move to the wrist. And it doesn't matter which direction you go in, just tapping all the way round. Okay, now coming to the opposite hand. And again, it doesn't matter whether you do the left first, the right first, whatever. And you might want to just stick with one hand. That's fine. Go with what you feel. That's what we encourage you to do, what feels right to you. And that goes the same with the pressure, the amount of pressure that you use as you're tapping. So I tend to recommend, if you're feeling a bit wound up, just be maybe a little more deliberate. And when I say that, I mean slow it down a little. And help yourself by breathing consciously, deeply, mindfully, in through your nose. On to the next finger. So again, you've got your palm facing your body, so it's a natural position to be in. It's very comfortable. And then the middle finger. The ring finger. And the little finger. Karate chop, side of the hand. Oh, feeling good, feeling good. And then onto the miracle point again. And then finishing off around the wrist. Okay, fantastic. So you could, when you're doing this by yourself on your own, go through the sequence on your head, beginning of the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, be on the chin, collarbone. I like to include the thymus, under the arms, and then go through the hand points, so the fingers, okay, and round, and then the other side, okay. So that, and just keep going. Maybe, just feel your way through it. And if it's the first time that you're doing it, then I would just say give yourself a few rounds and see how you feel. And then maybe do some more a little later in the day. Or if something happens and you're feeling stressed, that's the time to do it. Really it is. And see how quickly it helps you to shift it, because that's the aim. It's the primary aim, is that we move through our emotions, because they become attached to our thoughts in a healthy way and in an unhealthy way. So the unhealthy ones, we absolutely want to be moving them through our bodies, which is the most natural thing that our body is always doing as it adjusts and adapts to everything that may be going on. So we can help it along. We can move through things which have caused us distress much more quickly, so that we are able to feel more calm about it when we think about it at a later date. And that's the way to check just how well it's working for you. So it may be that certain things have been testing you, challenging you over time, for some time. And what happens is that there can be many aspects to it. There can be lots of things that you need to allow yourself to process. And so tapping in this way is a phenomenal way. It's a great way to be able to do that without getting too bogged down with it. Sometimes, there's different beliefs, let's say, out there that some would say you have to go through deep into some very traumatic places that you've been there once before. And actually, I would say that in my experience and working with hundreds, if not thousands of clients now, that is not necessary. You can just tap through these things in a way that is gentle with yourself. It doesn't have to be painful, and not to fear the process, because the transition is so quick. It's so quick. So I promise you, just keep doing it. Keep tapping. So one final thing now, let's share with you the discreet way of doing it. And this is really thanks to a phenomenal EFT down under, a chap called Steve Wells, who is the most amazing tapping teacher. And he brought this to my attention, so I'm going to share it with you as well. So what he shows us to do is to, using again the pads of our fingers and thumbs, we can tap literally on those same key points like we were before, like that, but just with our thumbs, and it has exactly the same effect. It's amazing. So we can tap through each finger with our thumb, just like this. And then we can tap on our thumb using your forefinger, your index finger. Now, how's that for being discreet? So you can have your hands down. You know, I can be talking to you without you realising what I'm doing here, to help me stay calm as I do this Facebook Live, for example. And with us having to do so much more online now, we don't have to do it, but, you know, for a lot of my fellow therapists and practitioner, coaches, counsellors, hypnotherapists, you know, the team from Tamworth in particular who I'm referring to, so many of us have worked very physically, and that is not happening at the moment, and could be some time before we can do our work in that way again. So we're having to diversify, we're having to adapt, we're having to become more creative in the way that we can be in our world. And so whilst that is my personal connection and understanding of taking my business online, I know that it can be the same for a lot of other people out there who are also finding their way through this. And so I would suggest to you that there is always something that you can do. You have knowledge, you have expertise. Just think about the things that you're really passionate about, and know that other people would love to know from you and understand things that you can do, that you can show them. So there is ways forward, I promise you. Anyway, back to the tapping. So whilst I've been talking about that, I'm tapping through my points. So to remind you, okay, so using the thumbs to tap on the side of those fingers. It's a bit awkward trying to show you at the same time, but I think you probably got the idea of that. So we're tapping to create that vibration. That's what we're doing, and it's soothing, to touch, to feel. So working through each finger point, and of course, whilst we're doing that, the thumb is also receiving the vibration. Just know that that wonderful thread just finds its way to where it needs to in your body to soothe and calm. So let's see. I'm not quite sure what time it is. I said 30 minutes. Oh, not bad going. Okay, so keep tapping. Just keep tapping. Whilst you have the time to do this, okay, these fingers are getting used an awful lot, aren't they, on keyboards at the moment and smartphones to keep in touch. So, they're getting another extra little workout. So one last time, let's go through the full routine now. Yep, can feel the energy moving. Can you feel the energy moving? It's different for us all, so it's always interesting to know how it is for you. So from the beginning of the eyebrow there, to the side of the eye, to directly under the eye, to under the nose, and the chin, to the collarbone, here we've got the thymus. Let's give it a good old thump, get that immune system boosted. Yeah. Under the arms. Through the finger points, starting with the thumb. Onto the side of the hand, karate chop. On the miracle point. Tapping round the wrist. Other hand. On the fingers. Forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, side of the hand, and the miracle point once again. Just keep tapping, keep breathing. Round the wrist, whichever way works for you. Give our hands a good old rub now. One final nice big breath together. And a stretch. Oh, shake it all out. Woo! Woo! How do you feel? I'll tell you what. I'm tingling. So I hope you found that useful, and you know what, if you can do that even just once a day, even just one round a day, then it's still possibly one more round than what you've been doing previously. And it's a bit like brushing your teeth, really. Once you start doing it, and if you miss it, you know what it feels like. Doesn't feel so good. It really does help to maintain that balance, to be centered, to be grounded. So I'd love to hear how you get on with it. And like I say, if you have any questions about it, and I will say, share this with your family and friends so that they too can learn how to use this great, simple technique. And, we all need something that that just keeps us sane. Okay, so stay safe, keep well, keep optimistically hopeful, keep your immune system boosted, And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday, same place, same time. Okay? Ciao. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.